Hi everyone, this is Heather Smith with Storyville Photography, and today I'm going to show you how to achieve this edit. This is my brother and his cute little family, and I just adore this image. So this is where we're going to end up, and this is the raw file where we will begin. So I took this around 7 p.m., but we were back in the woods, so you lose light a lot quicker. My image is a little bit underexposed, but personally that's how I like to take pictures. It works well with my editing, so I always slightly underexpose. I used the Canon 5D Mark III and the 200mm here, and my settings were 640 shutter speed, 320 ISO, and 2.2 f-stop. So this is where we will end, and this is where we are starting right now. The first thing I like to do is open an image up into Lightroom, and for here I'm going to use the Storyville Simplicity 4. And then with almost all of my presets, guys, I like to manually adjust the exposure and the white balance because every session is going to be different. So you should do the same if you have the Storyville presets. So I'm brightening the exposure a little and then turning up the white balance to my liking. So that looks pretty good there. And then I am going to straighten it. So I like to just kind of match up the bottom there and make sure that the bottom is straight. And that looks good to me. And now we are going to open it up into Photoshop. And now that we're in Photoshop, I always like to copy the background layer, so Command J. And then I almost always run the smoothing and sharpening action, guys. I just love the overall look that it gives to the image. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit the step 1 smoothing, and I'm going to hit play. And then you can always play with the opacity too, guys. So you can determine your own strength with this. It can come on strong in certain images, but for this one I'm going to keep it at a full 100%, and then I'm going to go to the step 2 sharpening and hit play, and it's going to come on pretty intense. For this I only want a little bit of the details to come back, so around 24% looks good to me, and I'm happy with that. The next thing I like to do is run the Storyville Image Base. So I'm going to find that in my Actions panel and hit play. Continue. For this image, the edges are already darkened enough and they are the sole focal point of the image. There's no distractions, so I'm going to turn that off. I like the color dazzle where it is. It just kind of increases that brightness of the color. I really love it. The contrast I'm going to turn down to about I'd say like 11%. And then the brighten up, I'm going to turn down to 22%. So this is the before, and that's the after the image base. It's really subtle, but I just love what it does. The next thing I want to do is go into the Storyville Retouch, and I want to brighten their skin a little bit. So I'm going to go into the Storyville Brighten Skin and Eyes, hit play, continue. And I'm going to open it up and hit the Brighten Skin. For this, you're going to want to have a soft white brush at 100% opacity. And guys, it's going to come on really strong at first. They're even going to look kind of blown out, but I like my actions to come on strong so I can see where I'm painting. And then we can adjust the opacity in the layers panel. So just going to hit them with the brightening. Little leggies. My niece is just the cutest, smiley, happy little girl. I just love her to death. Here we go. And that looks good there. And I'm going to turn that down to about 45%. And it just, you know, brightens them up a little. If you over brighten or you just want certain areas to be, I guess, how they were before, or just tone down a little bit, take a soft black brush at a lower opacity. I'm going to do about 50% and just wipe a little bit off this off her cheeks and right there. And perfect. That looks good to me there. The next thing I want to do is brighten my nephew's little eyes. So I'm going to go to the Brighten Eyes. Make sure I have a soft white brush at 100% opacity. Zoom in a little bit. and then just hit his eyes with it. And again, we can turn this down in the layers panel. So I'm going to turn that down to about 60%, 62%. That looks good. So that's the before and after. And one other thing I want to do to their skin is to take a little bit of the red out. As you see, my brother's got a red honk. My nephew has some rosy cheeks, which he always has. So I'm going to leave them, but I do want to just decrease it a little bit. And my niece has some red tootsies going on. So I'm going to hit the Storyville Skin Color Correction in the Retouch panel. Hit play. Open it up and hit the Reduce Red. From there, soft white brush at 100% opacity. And when I first start painting this on, they're going to turn gray. It's not going to be a good look. But again, it really shows where you're painting. So that's how I like it. And then we will decrease it in the opacity. So I'm just going to kind of touch up her feet a little. Cheeks, nose, a little bit on the cheek there. I think that's all the red I need to get out. So then I'm going to turn it down and just kind of go till my eye likes it. And that looks good to me. Just a little subtle difference, but it makes all of the difference in the world, guys. So from there, I want to just kind of pull up some of the midtones. It's a little bit too dark for my liking. So I'm going to grab a curves layer and I'm going to just pull up on them ever so slightly to brighten up the image. So that's the before and after. Now I want to add a little bit of light up top. I absolutely love the Ultimate Light pack, guys. I'm going to start by typing in Storyville Sun. You can pull it up this way, or you can go to the file and open, and you can also open the image that way as well. So I'm going to grab the Storyville Sun 1, pull it on, and hit screen mode, and then pull it up to the top. If you opened it the other way, you're going to want to copy and paste it onto here, and then select the free transform, so then you can resize it and move it around. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger, and that looks good to me right there. Hit the OK. Now, if you can notice there's like this distinct line right here. You can either add a layer mask on it and brush it away with a soft black brush, or an easy trick, guys, is just go to the filter and go to the blur, Gaussian blur, and about like 45%, it takes that line away. So easy. I just love it. Okay, so that is the before and the after with that. The next thing I want to do is put a little sparkle overlay on the ground there. So I'm going to type in Storyville Sparkle. Sorry guys, my typing crazy. So I am going to grab the Storyville Sparkle number 1. I love it. Like, I use this on so many of my images. It's probably my favorite sparkle overlay. And I'm going to hit the OK. Change this to soft light. And if you don't want the gold, guys, sometimes it's really pretty on images, but for here, I don't want the gold tone to affect my image. So I am going to grab a hue and saturation layer. I'm going to hit this little downward arrow because it's only going to affect this overlay, not the rest of my image. So that's what we want. And I'm going to desaturate it. And that looks good to me. Now I just want the sparkles on the ground. So for that, I'm going to click on the sparkle layer, add a layer mask, invert it to make it a black layer mask, and that is Command I. Take a soft white brush at 100% opacity and just paint it on. I feel like it gives it a little something extra. I also really like to use this in grass or water. It's really a fun overlay to have. And I want to just decrease the brightness a little bit just on that layer. So I hit the downward arrow again and pull down just ever so slightly. And that looks good. So that's the before and after. And I think the only other thing I want to do is warm the image up a little bit. So for that, I am going to go back to the actions, and I want to find the image toning. And I'm going to select the warm up, hit play. And I want to just turn that down a little bit. I like to always put it to 0 and kind of just increase it to where my eye likes it. And for this, about 29% looks good. It did kind of change the tones of the shirt, the blues anyway. So if you don't like that, you can also, and you want them to stay more true to color, take the black soft brush at 100% opacity and just brush it off. And that looks good to me. So I'm going to drag you back into Lightroom so you can see the before and after. Get rid of that. So, and that was with the preset. This is the full on edit. So the preset makes a nice base, and this is the complete raw file. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. You can find everything I used here at StoryvillePhotography.com. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.